Carl Sagan could not have predicted 2021, but he did see it coming. He wrote the following back in 1995, and we quote, "I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when, clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness. The dumbing down of America is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media, the 30-second sound bites now down to 10 seconds or less, lowest common denominator programming, credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstition, but especially a kind of celebration of ignorance." Roll that around for a while. Those were among his final published words. He died 10 months later. Here we are 25 years later, realizing just what he was trying to tell us back then.
Ashton Forbes, you know, that super jacked guy.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
Even as these grainy satellite images released today by the Chinese government.
Why shoot it down, though, if it's not hostile?
Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space.
Why the Americans would?
They leave distance annihilated.
This country is very powerful. Far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world. Not even close.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
Well, hello everybody, welcome to the live chat. OMG, we are back. I have canceled my OnlyFans chat. OnlyFans has been canceled. Save it for next month, guys, when we've fallen off again, because we are back, baby. We are as back as you could possibly be. Guys, if you did not see the breaking news, I was referenced on Joe Rogan today 2 times. 2 times Joe Rogan said my full name twice. You know what? Let's not even wait. Let's just go ahead and show it right off the bat. I'm so excited. Here you go, guys. Let's check this out. I thought people were joking.
Sprinting with Ashton.
I thought people were joking. I didn't think they were being serious when they said that I was referenced. They were serious. This is not AI. Here we go.
See the videos where he was sprinting with Ashton Forbes, you know, that super jacked guy. See the videos where he was sprinting with Ashton Forbes, you know, that super jacked guy.
Hold up, chat. Super jacked. I don't think I've been called super jacked that many times in my life here. But you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take it. In fact, that's not the only reference. There is a second clip right after this. I'm looking in there and I'm just Googling I'm searching my name in the transcript.
No, look at this Ashton Forbes guy. No, look at the way this guy's built. This Ashton Forbes guy. No, look at the way this guy's built. This Ashton Forbes guy. No.
Wow. Okay, so John Cena was on with Joe Rogan today, and he's talking about Ashton Hall. Ashton Hall is that huge Jack Black dude that does his weird wake-up morning routine where he, like, washes his face with, I don't know, bottled water, whatever. Don't know, don't care. But what I will say is that is a textbook Freudian slip. You don't go randomly say some other dude's name. Like, there's no similarity between Forbes and Hall. Completely different people. One's a jacked black dude, and one's a skinny white dude that talks about quantum mechanics and nuclear weapons. You're telling me Joe Rogan is randomly slipping my name into his conversation multiple times? No, chat. No, chat. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm willing to push aside a lot of coincidences. I'm literally being blocked by every woke disclosure person there is. Just got blocked by Michael Schellenberger for making a kind of glib reference on one of his super long posts saying it's too long, I'm not going to read all that. And he blocked me. You got Michael Schellenberger. Dan Farah is literally doing the mainstream media tour. And they've all been on Joe Rogan. And now Joe Rogan is randomly saying my name multiple times. They're definitely talking about me. They're definitely talking about me, chat. I'm sorry. My ego is going to increase even more. Because who just said that? Yes, Z Jalapeno. Gold star for you today, Z Jalapeno. Let me get these chats up here so you guys can read it. We won. They're basically just adapting. You know they're talking about me behind the scenes. They're too afraid to say my name publicly, but you know they're talking about that Ashton Forbes guy and the warp drives and the free energy shit. You know they're talking about that. And you know they're in little conference rooms and they're going, oh shit, Ashton Forbes is exposing our warp drive and our wormhole technology like 20 years before we're supposed to expose it. We gotta move up the timeline. Quick, in the next disclosure movie, let's have a 5-minute segment all about warp drives that nobody's ever been talking about until now, and we're just gonna bring it up. Right? That's what's going on here. And you know what? If anyone wants to say, oh, no, you're being crazy, there's no way he's secretly thinking about you. Yes, he is. And I literally challenge Joe Rogan right now. Okay, Joe, if you're not thinking about me, why are you literally saying my name subliminally? There it is right there. There it is, Ashton Forbes. You're sitting there saying my name and you follow me on Twitter. Let's be honest. We know you're a secret fan. And that's okay. That's okay. Look, Joe, just be real with you real quick. Let's just have a conversation. I know you want to talk about warp drives. I know you want to talk about aliens and wormholes and 0-point energy. I know you want to talk about it, bro. I want to talk about it too. I love talking about it. You're probably getting a lot of pushback because people are like, no, that guy's a scammer. Those videos are fake. Who cares? Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. You can make up your own mind. You're a big boy. You can make up your own mind what's real and what's fake. I guarantee you after you talk to me, you're not going to be thinking that shit's fake anymore. So let's have the conversation because at the end of the day, Joe Rogan is being misled by these woke disclosure people. And I see Bob Greenyer in the chat. I've wanted to shout Bob Greenyer out. I probably should be retweeting him and shouting these people out more often. I have to admit that I'm bad at doing that. It's actually one of my goals at work is to try to give people more shout outs and kudos for all the great work they do. Because I have now been behind the curtain. I have now seen inside Pandora's box. I know what the code is to get inside. And the people that Joe Rogan is talking to on the front end, they either have no idea what's going on in some cases, and in other cases, they know what's going on and they're being deceptive. They're not revealing the truth. What I told Nino Rodriguez, if you guys did not check out the interview and the collaboration, Great collaboration yesterday. Check it out on David Nino Rodriguez's YouTube channel yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening. It was recorded last weekend. I was in the chat hanging out. They are essentially, they're holding back part of the truth. The people that are trying to tell us disclosure, the Chris Mellons of the world, Lou Elizondo's, the whole Jeremy Corbell orbit, they are in some ways telling us partial truth. They want to tell us about this secret technology and program, but they are avoiding talking about the physics. They're avoiding talking about the weaponization. They're avoiding talking about how this is going to impact our world. They sometimes broach on these topics, but they generally avoid them. And that is the main difference between woke disclosure, which they admit in the age of disclosure. They admit in that movie that they will tell us about aliens, but they can't tell us about the other stuff. This is why I'm living rent-free in Joe Rogan's head. I'm living rent-free in Joe Rogan's head because I'm out here learning the physics, doing the hard work. And you know what? Sometimes it includes getting it wrong. Sometimes it includes being wrong because that's what learning is. Learning is trying to understand stuff, and it's not easy. It's not easy. And that's what we're going to be doing here tonight. So, for the people that are wondering, yes, of course, I would still go on Joe Rogan. In fact, I would actually prefer a more contentious interview, one in which it's not coming in with softball questions. That's fine. Joe Rogan wants to come in with a debunker mindset. More power to him. In fact, I look forward to that. Anybody that doubts me, go look at what I did to one of the more intelligent debunkers out there. I mean, no disrespect. He's a nice guy, sneezing monkey, but I made him look like a fool. Made him look like a fool because I'm well-researched in this topic. I'm not a slouch. And I have answers to all the questions that people are going to have that are out there. So let's just have the conversation, man. Let's get it over with, have the conversation. And the last point related to this is that the fact that I'm being weirdly blackballed by Dan Farah, Michael Schellenberger, Lex Friedman, and Joe Rogan kind of playing this, I think the videos are fake game. He believes literally every other crackpot conspiracy, but somehow not this one. I have to wonder why you're not wanting to platform me. Because I'm not a kook off the street. I'm articulate. I'm well-spoken. I bring the views. So what is the excuse? What is the reason in which you are afraid to talk to me or platform me? And I don't want to be a conspiracy guy. I don't want to be. But I have to wonder in the back of my mind, are you being told by somebody not to talk to me? Because if so, that's really messed up. It's not appropriate, in my opinion, especially when someone is literally risking their life to reveal information and technology that the world's not really ready for. People talk about whistleblowers being safe and comfortable to come forward. Well, when a normal person comes forward and is like, hey, man, there's some really, really big conspiracy and there's proof. And all you have to do is follow up with the guy that leaked the video. And you don't talk to that person at all. You try to blackball that person, marginalize that person. It gets me suspicious, man. It gets me really suspicious. Especially when you're randomly name dropping me, confusing me with other Ashtons. And when he's saying Ashton Forbes, guys, he's talking about me. It's not another Ashton Forbes that Joe Rogan is randomly thinking about. I literally changed my handle to Ashton Forbes 2 days ago. And now he's saying my name. Wild. Anyway, we've got it on speed dial.
Ashton Forbes, you know, that super jacked guy.
We got it on speed dial.
Ashton Forbes, you know, that super jacked guy.
We're going to hear that probably like 50 times on every single live stream. In fact, if there's a way I can make it so every time someone subscribes, that pops up and just plays that video. If somebody knows how to do that, I'm not good. I'm too much boomer. I don't know how the internets work and things like that. I think it's just a series of tubes or something. So if somebody knows how to do that, let me know, because I need that in my life right now. Okay, guys. Oh, guys, I don't know how to bring this up. I know what's going to happen here. People are going to start getting upset. Let me turn the volume up. Candace Owens chat. Franklin the Turtle has to commit Candace Owens chat. It's over. We've reached that point. We've reached that point. We've reached the point now where even the people that were supporting Candace Owens, like the Megyn Kellys of the world, they have now, Megyn Kelly's interviewing Kash Patel today, the director of the FBI. Megyn Kelly is interviewing Kash Patel today and literally asking him, do you think Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk? And Kash Patel is saying yes. Okay. That's where we've gotten so far now. Okay. Things have gotten so far off the rails that even Candace Owens' biggest cheerleader, Megyn Kelly, who was made just a couple of weeks ago, was making excuses, claiming that Candace is a young mother. She's going through depression. I'm not the mother of the internet to tell people what to think. Okay. If you're not caught up to speed on the drama, I'll break it down to you very quickly. Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September 10th, just this year, a couple months ago. And within one day, less than 24 hours, Candace Owens, Ian Carroll, and the entire crew of woke right grifters were already inventing a fake conspiracy theory to blame Israel for Charlie Kirk's death. And over the course of the next few weeks, they pushed out all these different fake narratives. They were completely fake narratives. And as each narrative fell apart, they just came up with a new one. And it reached the point where now instead of Candace Owens finds out that an Egyptian plane leaves Utah right after the assassination. And she says she's found the smoking gun. We can finally connect the Egyptians to Charlie Kirk's death. Everyone's wondering why the Egyptians. And then we find out that UTC doesn't mean Utah time. UTC is a universal time code. Candace Owens didn't understand time zones. That plane actually never really left after the assassination. It left like 7 a.m. Did this stop Candace Owens? Of course not. Of course it didn't stop her. She claimed that it was suspicious that Brick Suit was one of the people debunking her, pointing out this error. She claimed that the people that were pointing out that she was wrong are actually proof that she's just even more correct. I'm not actually even joking at this point. I'm not even joking. I really wish I was joking, guys. So back in September, I called these people out because I saw this a mile away. I saw what they were doing. I saw what fake narrative they were pushing. And I was viciously attacked. People claiming that I'm paid off by the Zionists, that Netanyahu's paying me $7,000, everything under the sun. Everything. And I stuck with my guns. I didn't care. I lost 20,000 followers. 20,000. They literally ran a campaign to cancel me over criticizing Candace Owens' completely fake conspiracy theory. This is all true, by the way. So I kind of started letting it go because I just don't care that much. And it got so kooky that I just figured nobody's taking this seriously anymore. The sad part is people are taking it seriously. And it reached the point now of mass formation psychosis. The same exact thing that happened during COVID. We reached the point where just disagreeing with Candace means you're in on the plot. Like that's the level of weird. You know, the same thing that was happening with the people that you would tell them that a mask doesn't protect them from COVID. And they would say, oh, you're one of those conspiracy grifters. You're one of these anti-vaxxers, right? You're like, no, I'm just trying to tell you the facts that a mask doesn't protect you from a submicroscopic virus. And they say, oh, well, you've been watching too much Fox News. You're like, okay, if that's your logic, fine. Okay, fast forward. I don't want to spend too much time on this. So finally, months later, now It's okay to criticize Candace. Now everybody's criticizing Candace. Now Tim Pool is going on long diatribes criticizing Candace. He was previously at least agnostic towards the situation. TPUSA yesterday came out and said, we're going to do a whole video episode addressing all of Candace's lies. And she can either be there or not be there, but we're going to do it because we're fed up with this. So TPUSA puts out this announcement. Candace Owens comes back and says, she responds to it in her podcast, and she says, anytime, any place, I'll be there. So same night, last night, TPUSA says, okay, it's going to be the 15th of December at 2 p.m. Ashton Forbes makes a reply that says, no way Candace shows up. She's going to pull a hammy. Why? Because same reason why Ian Carroll didn't show up. These people are fucking grifters. And when you call them out, they pretend to be tough, but they're never going to face you face to face. Because their lies are going to fall apart and they're going to look like psychopaths. And they know it. And they know it. And that's why they will never show up. So what do you think happens, chat? Well, first thing that happened that I had 100 people replying to me going, ha, 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 she accepted, you're a fool, she accepted. How long did that last? Now, today, she's making up millions of excuses. My husband said I can't go. I've got to watch after the kids. It's not safe for me to fly to Phoenix. Meanwhile, she's being her picture's being taken at Dollywood at an amusement park. She's showing up to Tucker promotional event last night. Like, she's all over the place. She's clearly not afraid for her safety. So the excuses are rolling out, and now it sounds like she's not going to show up, even though she's got like 2 weeks to prepare for this. So why do I bring this up? One, I told you so. I fucking told you so, man. All the people out there that were talking shit about me, all the people that were saying, I'm on Team Candace, you're going to look so silly later on. I told you so. I told you she was lying to you. I told you she was spinning you some BS. And you went, no, she made you, Ashton. She made you what you are. Which is not true, by the way. Not true at all. The other reason why I bring it up, and yes, it's mostly wine moms. Right? The mommy sleuths, as I call them. The mommy sleuths who want to feel more important in their life, right? Where they feel like they're uncovering the secret conspiracy. And some of them follow me. Some of them follow me, admittedly. The reason why I bring it up is because can you imagine the reason why this is such a turnoff? Even Nick Fuentes is just ripping into her. And he should be. Imagine if the United States government came to me and was like, hey, Ashton, we're going to do a live interview where we discuss all the questions related to the MH370 videos. Would you like to be there? Would I like to be there? Tell me the date and time and I will be there. I don't care if I have to drive across the damn country. By the way, chat, I live in Minnesota. It's fucking cold here. Lulu is literally sleeping outside in 0-degree temperature like it's a 70-degree day. I'm sitting here freezing my nips off. Freezing my damn nips off. Anyway, do you think I would be there? Do you think if the Malaysian government, the Minister of Defense was like, this Ashton guy has been lying about us. He's been saying that we covered up MH370. We're going to do a big live stream production. And you know what? Ashton Forbes is invited. I don't care if it's in Malaysia. I'll be there. I'll be there with a martini in my hand, ready to go. Shit, we're getting that confession. I'll be celebrating, chat. I'll be celebrating my live stream, dancing that they invited me, that it's all over. I'm going to bury them. Are you kidding me? Candace Owens is making up excuses to not go? Doesn't pass the sniff test. Doesn't pass the sniff test. It could be literally anyone related to him. Even if the family members hit me up. If the family members hit me up to debate, I would be there. I'll be there on my own dime. If somebody was like, hey, Ashton, I know that's Gorgon stare footage, and I want to do an interview with you, and we want to record it, I'll pay for that in my own pocket. What do you mean I'm not going to be there? Oh, sorry, I've got to figure out what to do with my dog. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Especially if you give me a week's notice. I don't even need that much time. Give me 1 day's notice. That's plenty. Okay. So I got to be real. Candace is dodging. She's dodging and she's afraid. And the reason why she's afraid is she can't go face to face with Eric Kirk. Candace Owens is out here sharing text messages. This is real. This is real. But I'm not even going to share the video of this because it's so ridiculous. We're going to get into the physics here in just 1 minute, by the way. Candace Owens is sharing text messages saying that she was Charlie Kirk's wingman when 7 years ago he was dating some girl he was in love with, asking Candace what shirt he should wear. I'm sitting here going, how is that appropriate? The guy was just assassinated. His wife is grieving him. His children can't understand that their father is gone. And you're out here sharing text messages talking about when he was dating some other girl? You're not his wife? What is wrong with you, Candace Owens? Can you imagine how much blowback I would be getting if I was doing weird shit like that on my streams? It's creepy. It's stalkery. It's like stage 5 clinger behavior. Like, I'm actually starting to wonder if, like, Candace Owens was in love with Charlie Kirk, and this is that might explain her behavior more than anything else. Like, she was mad and upset that, like, you know, Charlie Kirk married what's her face? Erica instead. I don't know. It's bizarre, man. And then if you're looking for people that are like, who has the most to gain from Charlie Kirk's death? It's without a doubt Candace Owens at this point. Without a doubt. You could actually make a thriller movie where Candace Owens is the main villain, and it would be like a blockbuster just from this story. So anyway, follow her if you want. I have nothing personal against Candace. She platformed me. You're right. She didn't make me, not even close. But she did platform and she listened. So respect to her for that. I hope she figures out whatever she's going through here. Because I think normal people that look at this are like, something is off. Something is wrong. And she should have just accepted the debate and put this to rest. Let Charlie Kirk sleep. Let him rest. Let his memory rest instead of dragging him around all over the place. It's crazy to me. Okay, guys, I'm not going to talk too much more about it because I know people get upset about Candace Owens. The mommy sleuths get quite upset when you tear down their hero. Let's talk about some physics. Let's talk about physics, guys. I know that's why you're here. You want the physics. Ashton's political opinions don't matter. Doesn't matter if he's right about everything. Doesn't even matter at all. Let's do a little physics action. Let's start with, I got some clips queued up here, chat. I'm going to keep it a little bit light since it's Friday. So I've got this clip queued up right here and yes, to Warren in the chat. I do want to, let me address this for Warren. Warren's my biggest hater out there, guys, or my biggest fan, you know, some may say. Biggest fan out there. I think he spent the most on me, indirectly promoting disinformation, paying for disinformation against it. But this is the thing related to what happened. People always wonder, what happened? Why did you turn on Candace Owens? These people demand loyalty. I don't do loyalty tests. I don't do that. And yes, I think that they thought I was like them, just pushing fake stories for clicks and money. That's what they thought I was doing with MH370. And that was my concern. My concern was that they just think I'm like them, that I'm just some random grifter. No, this is actually a real thing that happened. Those videos are really MH370, and we really have this technology. It's not a weird Israel did this propaganda bullshit. It's like actually what happened. So this is why they got so upset at me when I started calling them out, because in their minds, they're thinking, why is this guy turning on us? He's just like we are. But I'm not. I'm not like that. That's the difference. And that's why I called them out. Because just like Nick Fuentes calls the people out, he says, this is making us all look bad. Me being associated with people like Candace Owens who are just going way off the deep end, it makes me look bad because she platformed me. It makes me look bad because then anyone goes, oh, well, this is just some nut job that was on with that crazy lady Candace Owens who needs to be in an institution. And I wouldn't even blame them. I'm talking about some crazy shit. I'm talking about teleportation. I'm talking about macroscopic quantum tunneling. I'm talking about unification of general relativity and quantum mechanics. And I'm admittedly not a PhD, just a random guy off the streets. So I can't really afford to be tied up with people that are just going completely insane. Completely insane. No connection to reality, no evidence. And when people say, well, Ashton, where's your evidence? It's 2 military videos. You kind of watch them during the intro. Anyway, let's get to this. I'm tired of talking. It's Friday. I don't really want to talk too much, guys. So here is a astronaut. What's his name? Astronaut Al Warden on the Good Morning Show in 2017. Good Morning Britain. I just thought this was really interesting because one of the things about the suppression of this technology, is once you know what you're looking for, it's pretty easy to tell who knows and who doesn't know. Just listen to how they respond. Listen to how they respond and listen to how they talk. Because we know that free energy is possible. We know that warp drives are possible. We know that teleportation is possible. We know that the alien question is a pretty stupid one. Somebody comes to you and says, well, what do you think about aliens? I mean, I guess that's a broad one, but I'm not talking about little green men. When I'm talking about aliens, I'm talking about the us in the future. I'm talking about what does our civilization look like 1,000 years from now? That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about aliens. People that want to talk about aliens are talking about E.T., stupid shit. Like aliens are going to be some animal. Like aliens are going to be a dumb animal that comes in, flies around to us on a rock. Light is too slow. This is what we know. The secret is 0 point energy. The secret is we can change the speed of light. If we can change the speed of light, we can relativistically move faster than the speed of light. This is all an abuse, an exploitation of general relativity. An exploitation of general relativity. And this is where you go. The people that know, that's how they're going to respond. The people that know are going to say, I don't think you understand how far away the nearest star is. The nearest star is 3 light years away. That means it takes light at the speed of light 3 years to get from there to here. And that's the closest star, the closest one. Do you think we're going to spend 3 years at the maximum possible speed to get to the next star system? No. No. We're going to get there instantly. We're going to get there instantly. From our perspective, we're just going to walk through a doorway and we're going to be there. Because all points in space and time are connected. How have you seen the aliens? I look in the mirror every morning. Boom. Boom. Drop the mic, baby. I don't know who this guy is. My favorite astronaut. I don't know if he's still alive. Probably. I used to think this theory was so dumb. Truthfully, chat. I used to think this theory was so dumb. This future humans or this idea. This was actually the plot twist in Battlestar Galactica. The plot twist in Battlestar Galactica is that they're on real Earth the whole time. That they throw away their technology to make themselves primitive again because technology ends up leading to this cycle of destruction. And the more I look at that, the more I say it makes sense. We are refugees that got stranded on this planet and we built a civilization here and we forgot about technology. And if you look around on this planet, what sticks out? We stick out. We are the thing that doesn't make sense on this planet. And we rationalize it. We say, well, we just descended from monkeys, which maybe we did, but did we do that naturally? If so, why are there not more variations between us and monkeys? It goes from stupid monkey to hyper intelligent human, like nothing in between. Just something I'm throwing out there. I could be totally wrong, what have you. So why do I bring this up? Let me see if I have any other clips I want to share before we go to the next thing. Actually, there's another clip that is somewhat related, but not really. What we're going to really talk about here tonight in a second is negative energy. We're going to talk about quantum mechanics. We're going to talk about how Dirac came in and solved the Schrodinger equation. How Dirac solved the equations and figured out negative energy, the very thing that we need for faster than light travel. And there's going to be a Yahtzee moment in this. But before we get to that, one more thing related to MH370 I want to share, which is this video with John Kirk. How do you say his name, chat? John Kirkow. I'm just going to say John Kirkow, former CIA spy, used to follow me, had a little bit of a falling out, probably because he might be a Russian mouthpiece, but I think he's a honest guy. I think he's a guy that he has no reason to be loyal to the CIA anymore. They threw him in prison. Basically what happened is John was talking about how we were torturing people illegally, and the CIA charged him and threw him in prison for 3 years. 30 months in prison he got. So he came out, and then he went to Russia, or he got a program with Russia, an English language program where he basically blows the whistle on the CIA. So as long as you know where somebody is coming from, you can know where their motivations are. I think he got a little upset because he's been doing the whole woke right grifter platform thing. And I think he's friends with Dave Smith and some of the other grifter people in the Candace Owens sphere of influence, the Tucker Carlsons of the world. No surprise. But regardless, still an intelligent guy. Let's listen to what he has to say right here. Because again, this is a guy that unquestionably was CIA. The CIA threw him in prison. They threw him in prison and they punished him. So let's see what he has to say here.
Are hitmen real? Yes. At the National Security Council, there is a committee that meets every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock to draw up something called the kill list. They sit around a table and they make a list of all the people that they want to kill that week. And then they take it back to the CIA, which has a dedicated unit. I won't tell you the name, but it has a dedicated unit that takes receipt of the list. They say, okay, number one. They drive to the airport, they get on the plane, they go out to that country, they kill the person, they come back, and then they go to number 2 on the list. That happens every single week. Now, we can have a conversation about whether that's right or whether it's wrong. It's certainly immoral. It's illegal, but it's been tasked by the president. At the same time, they will tell you there hasn't been another 9/11, has there? Maybe it's because we're out there killing people.
What kind of people would be on that list?
Oh, the most dangerous terrorists in the world. Or at least people that the CIA deems to be the most dangerous terrorists in the world.
Wow. Holy smokes. I think he's being 100% honest right there. I mean, was I ever on that list? You could see that they could at least have a conversation about it. So what did he say there? He says that the CIA just does policy. The CIA doesn't issue policy. The White House issues the policy. The CIA is the one that says, here's the list. Do you want us to go start killing these people? And then the president will be like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Start killing people off the list. You know, don't even tell me about it. Just start taking people off the list. Start at number 1. Work your way down the list. But then he says, he rationalizes. The reason why I like him is that he tells you the other perspective. He says, if you were to ask the CIA, they'll admit that they do this, but they'll say they're doing it to prevent another 9/11. There hasn't been another 9/11. And you could say this is the same argument you can make about, you know, my iPod's keeping tigers away. There's no tigers around here. Obviously, these iPods are keeping the tigers away. Factually speaking, no tigers. So, yes, you could say that it's a flawed argument. But overall, what do we know about this technology? We know that this technology, 0-point energy, is related to nuclear weapons. And this technology is unlimited energy for the world. So quite literally, us killing these terrorists might actually be saving the world. Quite literally. Could quite literally be preventing another 9/11 or something much worse than another 9/11. And that's where I would want to understand if John Kirkow knows what kind of super weapons we really have. Because even someone in his position might not know that. Probably doesn't know that. And who is on that list? One more thing I want to say. He says the terrorists. The way he says who's on that list, terrorists are on that list. He's basically saying we can designate anyone to be a terrorist that we want. And some of you laughed when I said, maybe is Ashton Forbes on that list? Obviously, I'm not, because I don't think you can be an American and be on that list. Asterisk Obama. But you can essentially arbitrarily determine if someone is a terrorist. Why? You could very easily argue an Iranian nuclear scientist who researches 0-point energy, you could argue that they are a terrorist. You could argue that some semiconductor engineers who have produced a gravity manipulation microchip, superconductive microchip, you could argue that they are terrorists, especially if they have agreed to a foreign nation to defect. You could definitely say that they are a terrorist. So I think it would be an interesting conversation with John to talk about CIA and extrajudicial killings, because there's a very, very real aspect of that at play with the MH370 videos and with this technology. It's not been all roses and rainbows and unicorns with this technology, guys. To hide and suppress this technology, we've had to destroy people's lives. I don't know how many people we've killed, but probably a lot, to hide this weaponization of this technology. Am I your grandpa? Yes, you're all my grandchildren. I told you. Am I your grandson? Yep. Okay. The main event, chat. The main event, Dirac, quantum mechanics. Dun, 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 dun. If you've stuck around this long, it's science time, chat. It's about to get scientific up in here. This is the brand new Veritasium video. My favorite YouTube physicist. Where is he? Where is he, chat? Ken Negative Energy. Wait, what's his name? What's the name of this video? The man who accidentally discovered antimatter. Okay. There's a lot to say on this, but let's just get right to the beginning here. Right around here.
Mass and energy are but different manifestations of the same thing.
So a particle's total energy comes from its momentum and its rest mass, giving a new relationship between energy and momentum. Now, if we take the square root of both sides, we get an expression for the energy of a particle in terms of its mass and momentum. And if we plot energy versus momentum in a single dimension, we get this curve, where mc squared, the rest mass energy of the object, is the lowest possible value for energy.
Okay, before I let you finish, Veritasium, right there, what did Albert Einstein say? He said, E equals mc squared. Energy and mass are manifestations of the same thing. Such a huge statement. Mass and energy are interchangeable. Whoever said my politics are bad, screw you, go to hell, you're banned. Just kidding, I haven't banned anybody. My politics are amazing. How dare you? How dare you, good sir? E equals mc squared. Energy and mass are interchangeable, and we know mass impacts gravity, therefore energy must also impact gravity. You still with me? Good. Here we go.
But really, when we took the square root, we should have put a plus minus out front, which would give us two curves, one for positive energies and another for negative energies. But we don't observe things that have energy less than zero. I mean, what would that even mean? So in classical physics,
what would that even mean, chat? What would that even mean? What would negative energy even mean, chat? What has Ashton Forbes been saying? Ashton Forbes has been saying there is something called 0 point energy. And the rest energy, the energy that we think of as zero, when we looked at that parabola and we say, well, this plot here goes to zero, that's not zero. That's the surface of the ocean. The surface of the ocean is what we think of as the rest energy. And that there's this negative energy in the form of this trapped energy in an extra dimension. And we call it 0 point energy. And negative energy is tapping in to that 0 point energy. That's what negative energy is. So it's a conceptual misunderstanding. It's not some exotic purple Harry Potter substance. It's not magical, swirly stuff. It's literally just the opposite of a positive energy reaction. Everything is positive and negative. Everything is dipoles. Everything is magnetism. Positive and minus in all of physics. So the next part here, and we're skipping through a lot of this because I don't want to get copyright strike. These bigger guys love to copyright strike you, chat. But one part I want to point out here
throwing a ball in the air.
This part here. What we're trying to solve with the Schrodinger equation, with all of this math, we're trying to understand how an object moves. If I throw a ball in the air, we can watch the parabola of the motion of the ball as gravity impacts it. We watch it go up and we watch it come down. So when we are talking about with solving the Schrodinger equation, we're talking about how that object is moving, not just in our three-dimensional space, how that object is moving in our four-dimensional space. How is it moving forward and back, up and down, left and right, in time, but also within the lattice structure of the vacuum itself?
If you want to predict the ball's future motion, well, then you need to know where you threw it from, that's its position, and how hard you threw it, that's its velocity. Or in other words, you need to know both the position and the first derivative of the position.
Similarly,
so we are trying to understand the position of something in our universe. That's where Schrodinger and Dirac came in. We're trying to understand, how do we explain the movement and the position of an object when there's no reference point? How do you actually explain this? This is why teleportation is so interesting. Because we don't even understand our reality. Because look at it like this. Here's an example for you. Ashton, I'm the king of common man explanations here. Thank you for that super chat, by the way. I appreciate it. We are standing on the earth. And it doesn't look like the earth is moving. If you were to look outside, the earth looks stationary. But we know the earth is actually spinning. Not only is the earth spinning, but the earth is spinning and moving through our solar system. And our entire solar system is also moving through the galaxy. And our galaxy is also moving through the universe. We just don't see it. We don't perceive it because we're in our frame of reference, so we don't see the spin. When we are solving the Schrodinger equation, we are solving that. We are figuring out what is the underlying reference frame relative to everything else. And if we could figure that out, you could see how teleportation could become possible. Because now you've basically created a coordinate system for what this is, this location, and you've created a coordinate system for what this location is. And what did we just learn about teleportation on Wednesday? We learned if you have a coordinate system, you can basically move your pattern from one location in the coordinate system, move your pattern to a different location, and you can cause it to translocate. And yes, everything spins, says I am awake. Everything spins. Okay, so the part I wanted to get to here is coming up here in a second.
Told the whole story. And this introduced a further problem. The probability of finding a particle in a given area could no longer be simply described by the modulus of the wave function, as it was for the Schrödinger equation. For the Klein-Gordon equation, a new equation was needed to describe the probability using the wave function, which takes a while to derive, so we won't get into that here, but it looks like this. And the problem with that equation is that, unlike the simple modulus of the wave function, it can have negative solutions, negative probabilities.
How can the chance of something happening be less than zero? As Dirac put it, that, of course, is physically nonsense.
So here you go. Here's where it comes into play. There are negative solutions to the problem. But the thing is, you can't have negative of something. So this is the part where physics needed to reconceptualize the problem. This is the problem between math and reality. In reality, we know there are opposites: positive charge, minus charge, positive magnetism, negative side of the magnetism. So we know there's this positive and negative aspect, but how does it manifest itself? How does it manifest itself in terms of physical properties? And some people would say that the negative and positive, as was mentioned by John here, are time reversed forms. That the electron and the positron is just the electron moving backwards in time. Another way to look at it is that that gravity itself is just pressure. It's just pressure. And you can have a negative pressure differential and a positive pressure differential. You can have either repulsion or attraction. And that can be represented in forms of negative energy. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry, because there's going to be more right here. Okay. I'm going to let it go on.
So Dirac did what Dirac does best, and he set out to find his own solution that contained no second-order time derivatives.
First,
so Dirac basically does a whole bunch of math, chat. Dirac does a whole bunch of math, and he's like, I need to be able to solve this in a way that'll make sense. And what does he do? Dirac goes and he makes a matrix. Dirac says, okay, what we can do is we can write this as a matrix form, because the matrix form will take into account which vector goes first. And if you write this in a matrix form, now you can accurately represent how the wave functions operate. That's what Dirac does. Does a whole bunch of math, basically figures out this is how we can get the waveforms to work, but you need to create a matrix. And the matrix is representing spatial directions. So I think I explained that correctly. Let me go to this Yahtzee moment here. One sec, chat. Okay, 21 minutes. My boy Heisenberg was in there. Okay, so here you go. Here's the matrix part. I'm going to play at higher speed here for you guys. Whoops. Shit.
Were satisfied. Dirac had found coefficients that worked. Now, we can substitute those matrices back into Dirac's linear equation, then rewrite the three momenta and alpha coefficients as vectors. And, just as we did with the Schrödinger and Klein-Gordon equations, we can use the energy and momentum operators to make both sides act on the wave function. If we substitute those operators in, we get Dirac's final equation for the relativistic free electron.
Hold up. What did he just say? Wait. What math did this just solve? So I kind of skipped through this, but I just explained that Dirac took Schrodinger's equation, applied a matrix form to it to get rid of these squares so that we won't have a positive and minus solution. And what did that create? What did this equation create? This equation created...
We get Dirac's final equation for the relativistic free electron.
Relativistic free electron. Holy crap. Holy shit. The relativistic free electron, that's the solution. That's what we've been solving. It makes so much sense because what are we saying? We're saying this equation represents the movement of an electron through the atom's orbital. This explains how the electron moves in presence of another electromagnetic field from the atom itself. And this equation gives us what would happen if we had free electrons. And what is, anybody in the chat, what is the secret to our fusion reactors? Our field reverse configuration fusion reactors? Relativistic free electron lasers. That can't be a coincidence. There is no way that this is a coincidence. 0% chance. When I heard him say free electron lasers, I actually cried. I cried a little bit. Tears came down my eyes because I went, holy shit, this is the answer. They solved the Schrodinger equation. They solved the Dirac equation. And they figured out how to use high-powered lasers to manipulate the vacuum, to make the vacuum form geometrical shapes. Because once you've solved that equation, you can now control the movement of any atom and mass in our reality. You can solve the instabilities in plasma. All the plasma issues we have with instabilities in fusion, solved. That's what the equation means. That's what the equations tell us. They tell us how electrons are going to move at the quantum scale. And there it is. The free electron equation. Boom. Yes, you can control gravity with this equation. You can control gravity. That's the craziest thing to me. You can literally control gravity. That's what they figured out. When they figured out how to manipulate free electrons, move electrons around freely, control them through 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional space, they've now figured out how to control gravity. That's the underlying basis for it. Right there. Electromagnetism. Hydrodynamics. Magnetohydrodynamics. Unbelievable. Okay, a few more clips here, guys, from this. Great video. If you guys want to learn more about Dirac and the Schrodinger equation, the history of Heisenberg. By the way, Heisenberg was the mentor to Friedwart Winterberg, the nuclear scientist whose textbook I read, do I keep talking about? Heisenberg. Werner Heisenberg was his mentor in Germany. Can't make this shit up, chat. You cannot make this stuff up. I wish I could make this up. I wish I could make up a story this good. Okay, let's skip ahead a few minutes here. So amazing, honestly.
Possible states due to different orientations of its intrinsic angular momentum, spin up and spin down.
This spin creates a tiny magnetic field. So these two states are like tiny magnets pointing in opposite directions. And that has an interesting implication. You take hydrogen, which has 1 proton and 1 electron. Classically, the electron whizzes around the proton. But if you switch to the perspective of the electron, well, now it's the proton that's moving. And since it's positively charged, that moving charge creates a magnetic field in the electron's frame of reference. So now you've got this electron, which has its own mini magnetic field, interacting with a larger magnetic field, and that interaction will be slightly different for a spin up and a spin down electron.
So there it is. There it is. Dr. Yu was right. Dr. Yu was right. What's the difference? Spin up and spin down electron? Literally just flip it the other way. Why does it act differently? Because of the right-hand rule in electrical engineering makes it act differently. Because when you flip it over, now it's going to act differently. And now, because the electron's frame of reference, it looks like the atom is orbiting around it. The same way where people used to think that the sun was revolving around the earth. Literally the same. Because from our perspective on Earth, it does look like the sun is revolving around us. But we know that's just because of our perspective. So when we're solving the Schrodinger equation, what are we doing? We're changing the perspective. We're solving for our perspective. We're saying, okay, solve for the perspective. Now we can understand what's really going on. And that's what's happening with the electron as well when we solve these equations. And this gives us the real physical manifestation of reality, how atoms really operate. Fast forward it a couple minutes here. My goat, Chad.
Because if an electron at a given energy level only has 2 possible spin states, then why do we have a 4-component wave function? Why are there 4 states and not just 2?
Well, that's what brings us back to that 1928 lecture at the start, the one that seemed to drive even the most well-established quantum physicists mad. Because that strange man presenting his work was actually Paul Dirac, sharing his new equation with the world. It was Dirac's beautiful equation that Heisenberg called the saddest chapter in modern physics.
To understand why all those physicists were losing their minds, we only have to look at the simple case when a particle is at rest. This term right here describes the momentum. So when the particle doesn't move...
Chat, I'm getting so excited right now for what he's about to say. I'm getting so excited. Get ready for it.
Poof, this becomes 0 and it drops out, which gives us this. Next, we can sub in the energy for this quantum operator to get this. So now we know that beta times mc squared must be equal to the particle's energy. And if we write out beta and multiply by mc squared, then we find 2 positive solutions and 2 negative solutions for the energy. So negative energy solutions are baked right into the Dirac equation.
Negative energy solutions are baked into the Dirac equation. Unavoidable. Is that, imagine this. Dirac, he's doing what nobody else could do. He's taking the equations and he's simplifying them. He's connecting them. He's going, this equals this, so I can pull this in. And he's doing all this math. He figures out this genius way of understanding the vectors with matrices. And everybody's loving it. They're going, holy shit, Dirac's a fucking genius. And then he presents his final equation where he's reduced the time derivative bullshit from it. And they look at it and they realize, holy shit, this means negative energy must exist. They look at it and they go, negative energy has to exist. The math is unequivocal. There are negative energy solutions to the equation. Boom. This is why people were freaking out. This is why Werner Heisenberg is sitting there going, this is the darkest time in physics. Because they had just realized they totally have misunderstood reality. There's something about reality that they do not understand at all. That's why they were losing their minds over this. And the worst part is, they know that the math he's doing is correct. They know the math he's doing is correct. Therefore, it's this realization that everything they thought they knew was wrong, that there's an underlying error to the assumptions that they've been making, that classical physics is going to break down. Classical physics is going to fail. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. This is why I love physics, by the way, guys. I love physics because it's not set in stone. Because physics is still something we are trying to wrestle with and grasp, and it's almost dogmatic. It's religious. People have belief systems in the way they think the world should work, as opposed to just accepting the way that it does work. Incredible. Okay, so what is the solution, guys? Anybody, before I show you the answer, what was Dirac's solution to this? Because what happened is all the physicists lost their minds. So they peer pressured Dirac. They said, Dirac, fuck, man, you just screwed us all over, bro. They said you just broke physics. And so Dirac is panicked. And Dirac is trying to figure out another solution. He's like, shit, dog, I didn't mean to break physics. My fellow honkies, don't cancel me. I'm allowed to say the H word. I'm allowed to say that word. I've got an H pass, chat. Black people can say the N word. I'm allowed to say the H word. So a bunch of honkies were sitting around and they were like, yo, you got to be fixing these equations. Nobody in the chat has said it yet. So Dirac says, don't you worry, my H's. I got you. And he says, I'm going to come up with a sea of energy. So Dirac says, we're going to make up a whole sea of energy. And we're going to call it the Dirac Sea. By the way, this is true. Negatrons. They actually did try to rename electrons into negatrons. This is a true story. True story. Didn't work. They tried to make positrons and then rename electrons into negatrons, which would actually make a whole lot of sense, which is why they didn't do it at the end of the day. So Dirac rolls up and he says, my homies, my H's, we'll just make a Dirac sea of energy. And now all that negative energy that you guys were worried about, don't worry, because now it's invisible. Now it's invisible and now it's trapped. And the only way to access the negative energy, the only way to access it is to pull it out where it's trapped from. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Does that sound like anything you guys have heard about before? Oh, it sounds just like the ether because it's literally the ether. Dirac just came back to the ether and he was like, okay, negative energy is just like in the ether. But he said it in a way that they would accept. And that's what the Dirac Sea is. So here we go. Which part do I want to show? So this guy figures out positrons. Can't remember which part I want to show. Oh, this is it, I think. Oh, no, 2805. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's go to here. So at the same time, this guy figures out that positrons are a thing. Time-reversed electrons.
He actually also tried to rebrand electrons as negatrons, but that one didn't quite stick. Just 1 year after Dirac proposed the anti-electron, Carl Anderson found it, entirely by accident.
But this alone doesn't get rid of the negative energy problem. Remember what we said earlier. If any particles, like these positrons, can have negative energy, then they could continually radiate energy and drop into lower and lower negative energy states. Fortunately, Dirac proposed a solution to this problem as well.
Although pause. I don't know. Is this a famous person? Do I have to kiss the ring of this person? I don't know who this person is. Pause, random white guy. Pause, chat. Did you just hear what he just said right there? He said if this was true and there was negative energy was possible, now hydrogen atoms would be able to lower their energy state. And it could just keep lowering and lowering and lowering. Wait a minute. This isn't the first time I've heard that, chat. This is not the first time I've heard that. That is exactly what Randall Mills says is happening with his hydrino theory. Exactly what Randall Mills says is happening with his hydrino theory. Randall Mills says we got quantum mechanics wrong, and the hydrogen atom can drop its energy state as a fraction. So we don't have just integer energy states, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have half, third, quarter energy states, all the way down to 1 divided by 137, I think he says. Something like that. Infinite fractions. And this is also, that idea of lowering the energy state is also exactly what Hal Puthoff talks about with his ground state of the hydrogen atom. Remember, what does Hal Puthoff say? Hal Puthoff says that every electron should be radiating energy as it spins around the atom. But they don't when we measure it. But they should be from a classical perspective. So the answer is they are radiating energy. They're just absorbing energy at the same rate. Therefore, they're in an equilibrium. That is the same view as this idea of pulling the energy out. When the energy is radiating away, we're pulling this little tiny little bit of energy out of the space-time. Tiny little bit. But it's a real amount. So I'm going to play that again because this to me was one of the biggest tells, which is I've been searching for where did quantum mechanics go wrong? And this is the exact moment I think it started to go wrong. Was when they realized the truth of reality. Dirac realized the truth. Negative energy is possible. Monopoles are possible because you can have one negative pole over here and you can have a positive pole over here. And the distance between them doesn't matter. That's a monopole from our perspective. So if I go back 10 seconds here.
But this alone doesn't get rid of the negative energy problem. Remember what we said earlier. If any particles, like these positrons, can have negative energy, then they could continually radiate energy and drop into lower and lower negative energy states. Fortunately, Dirac proposed a solution to this problem as well, although it was a little crazy.
He theorized something called the Dirac sea, describing a vacuum as an infinite sea of electrons occupying all available negative energy states. And since no two electrons can occupy the same state, this prevents observable positive energy electrons from falling into the negative energy states.
A hole or vacancy in the sea then becomes a positron. When an electron and a positron meet and annihilate, well, that's just an electron falling back into the sea and filling that hole. The theory is mathematically sound. Of course, it's Dirac we're talking about. But if you feel like it's hard to come to terms with the idea that we're floating on an infinite sea of electrons, well, you wouldn't be alone.
Nope.
It's not even that.
We ain't got no problems with it over here, chat. We got no problems with floating on a sea of electrons. That ain't no problem we got. That is literally just Dirac explaining the ether. That is Dirac explaining the ether. You want to know the answers to the universe? You want to know the answers to the alien question? Just learn physics. It's right there in front of us. Dirac is the one that literally solved Schrodinger's equations, got rid of the second order time derivative, figured out that negative energy was real. And then the only question was, how do we understand and conceptualize what the math is showing us? And when they pressed Dirac because they didn't want to believe Dirac, he was like, fine. Y'all noobs don't want to believe me? Okay, great. Well, there's a sea of energy then. You don't want to believe it. There's a sea of energy, and all the negative energy is absorbing, is basically producing our reality. And that's why we can't interact with it. And then later on, fast forward, what have we now discovered? Now we've discovered we can interact with that 0 point energy. We can interact with that negative energy. And we can create a negative energy state, a blip in space-time. And that's exactly what we did to MH370. Here you go. This is proof that Paul Dirac was right. This is proof that Einstein was right. This is proof that negative energy is possible. This is proof that we can make a wormhole, that we can manipulate space-time itself. And this is proof that gravity and electromagnetism are one and the same force. They have the same underlying elements to them. In fact, there may only be one force, the super force, the Yuan force, whatever you want to believe, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, these videos are the future. These videos are the past, the present, and the future all rolled into one. You're looking at a weapon here derived from thermonuclear physics, equations, unifying electromagnetism and gravity, where they have figured out how to interact with that Dirac sea, how to solve Schrodinger's equation to make that plane appear somewhere else. Appear somewhere else in one piece or many pieces. We don't know. But that is a wormhole super weapon that they are using on that plane. And the physics is real. Quantum mechanics, quantum teleportation, all real. If you think that they haven't had any advancements since the 1960s, I got a bridge to sell you. I got a bridge to sell you in Baltimore that maybe a boat ran into. Don't know. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for today. We're doing a short one. Let me hit these super chats, and then we're going to call it for tonight. I hope you guys had a good holiday last week. And I've got some more collaborations coming up, guys. So, new collaboration. If you didn't check out the collaboration with David Nino Rodriguez, check that one out. I've got a pretty interesting one coming up that I can't announce yet. I'm just waiting to lock it in. And then I'm going to be doing some retro gaming on the 9th. On the 9th, I'm going to do some retro gaming. I met a cool guy that's got this awesome setup. We're going to try to do it online. So if you like those old school, like X-Men games, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, the fighter games, come check that out. We're just going to be hanging out, chilling, playing games, doing that kind of stuff on the 9th. It's going to be awesome, guys. Shout out to the Pilled Chat. I apologize to the Pilled Chat that we did not have the live stream set up on Wednesday. That was all my bad. Methil, John Glock, I see you guys in there. Thank you very much. And then the Rumble chat. Thank you, Rumble, for being here, guys. Much appreciated. I doubt that I have the call from Joe Rogan yet, but we'll see. John says the Dirac sea is a theoretical model of the electron vacuum as an infinite sea of electrons with negative energy. Exactly. And therefore, if that's the case, then if we were to tap into that, what have we produced? Negative energy. At the end of the day, negative and positive energy just produce a pressure gradient that we call gravity. And there's no reason you can't have a positive pressure and a negative pressure. If I have two plates together, they can come together, they can be pushed apart. No problem with that. And then Third Eye Tribe. Good, that super sticker. Thank you very much, Third Eye Tribe. I appreciate you. Okay, guys. You guys have a great night. I appreciate you all. We'll be back on Monday with another great live stream. Peace out, everybody. Later.
Out in the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate. Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeezed so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course. Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. Thin shell formalism, plates so fine, spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound, a shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear. Exploring the cosmos.